So hey, everybody. My name is Ben Childers. I'm the Director of Account Services here at Engaging Networks. And today I am being joined by Molly Kelly from the Zuri Group and Darren Hurst from the Zuri Group. Molly is their VP for Digital and was one of the key drivers behind the peer-to-peer platform that about a third of our clients currently use. And they also work with a large number of our clients as far as their design and content. And that's really what we're going to be talking with them today about. They are going to be showcasing some of the work they've been doing around honor and memorial giving. So I will pass it over to Molly, who will tell you a bit about Zuri Group, lay out the agenda for us, and then we'll go ahead and jump right in.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming today. So some of you are familiar with Zuri Group, some of you not, but we're a strategic digital fundraising company, and we've been helping nonprofit organizations for over 10 years. Basically what we do, we help you make informed choices about your technology, and then we help you get the greatest impact from those choices. And we do that through great design, strategy, and function. We're about 40 persons strong now, and we have experts also in the company that are working in operations, in data migration, and in change management. So today what we're going to go over for you real briefly on our agenda is some work we've been doing with Page Builder and the e-card in order to streamline that process. Initially, Ben's just kind of going to talk about the technology and how it works out of the box in Engaging Networks. And then I'll go through that streamlined experience for your donors. And then we're going to get under the hood. This is a pretty technical webinar where we're going to show you behind the scenes, and Darren's going to talk about how he makes it happen. We'll have some time to talk about a few additional enhancements and a little bit of Q&A.
Great. Thanks, Molly. So I'm sure most people on the call are familiar with Page Builder, and we're just not sure how many people are familiar with the fact that we also have e-cards as well. And so what a lot of people we've noticed have been doing is integrating their e-cards directly into their donation pages when someone is giving an honor or a memorial gift. So that's a particular type of transaction in Engaging Networks. But what's nice is it's migrated right into the donation page process now. So it's not its own separate page. Memorial giving is just part of your regular donation page or a premium donation page. And so what we're going to be talking about today is how you can kind of seamlessly integrate the e-card process into a donation page. So right now, if you have a donation page and you redirect to an e-card page, you actually skip the confirmation step in the e-card. And so what I mean by that is what normally has to happen is if someone sets up an e-card, they then will get a notification email in their inbox that they have to confirm that they actually wanted to send the e-card. And we do that so that way people can't just go in there and spam people with e-cards. So that's the main reason behind it. So there's some privacy in there, some protection for you and for your supporters. But if someone comes right from a donation page, they're actually able to bypass that confirmation step. So we have normally that two-factor authentication built in, but since we know the person just donated and they've confirmed their email address that way, we're actually able to skip over that step. And so what Molly and Darren and the Zuri Group have done is they set up a really clever way to kind of take advantage of that fact and be able to get out e-cards in a really seamless process. And so now Molly's going to take you through an actual client example of how they're able to do that, and then Darren will actually give you the behind the scenes, and we'll be sharing out some of the examples and the JavaScript that was used to make all this happen today. So go ahead, Molly.
All right, folks, so I'm going to use this form as an page as an example that we developed for the Committee to Protect Journalists, and they're really excited with it. As you can imagine, they get a lot of honor and memorial giving, so they were super happy to be a part of the webinar today. As Ben has communicated, when you do the e-card, there's a two-step authentication. And what that meant was that our donors, not only after filling out and letting us know that they want to give a gift in honor or memory, they would then, if you didn't do this extra work, they would then you'd have to link them to the e-card. They'd have to fill out the e-card, submit it, then they'd get an email back, and then they have to say, yes, really send this message to this person. And the goal here was this organization wanted to handle that in one go. Why would they do that? Well, it saves time on that donor from having to do those 2 extra steps. But on the other side of that, it removes the delivery responsibility from the organization by fulfilling this request, this donation as a gift or in memory or in honor, removing the notification process from their back-end team. So they don't have to go and run a report and print out reports and handwrite cards and mail them to people. It's all taken care of via the e-card. So starting at the beginning, what does this involve? This involves coding the form to take the honor and memorial information right here in the donation page first. So if I select that this gift is in honor or memory of someone, I'm given a drop-down where I can decide on my tribute type. So choosing in honor, I am then presented with the proper form fields for in honor gift, the honoree name, notification email address, and a place for my private message. Choosing in memory is then going to reset the form and display those fields, and we get an extra field when it's in memory because we have the name of the person we're memorializing as well as then the person to notify. I'm collecting that information here. I'm going to go ahead and make it in memory of Zadie. And I'm going to notify Mo, and let's just put in my Gmail address and paste in my message. So I'm brought to page 2, and I'm now asked to fill in my billing information and my payment information. So I'll pick my test credit card and process my donation. Getting that thank you, Molly, for my donation. Now, what I expect, me as the donor, I expect to receive a notification and a thank you that I made the gift. And Zadie, or rather my Gmail account, as the person to notify, is going to get the e-card. And here it is, an e-card from the Committee to Protect Journalists. And you'll notice here in the message is my name of my person to notify. It tells me who the donor was. It says Molly made a generous donation in loving memory of my person that I am memorializing, and then my personal message, right? So I typed that in and wanted that to go in the notification. On the other side, as a donor, I'm going to get that donor thank you, a receipt if configured, everything really smoothly and all done for me, including these customized messages. So I made that look easy. That's my side of it. That's the easy part. Now we're going to pass over, let me get back to that form, pass over the keys to Darren, who is going to show us under the hood.
All right, while Darren is getting his audio set up here really quickly, I just wanted to see if there were any particular questions about the workflow that Molly just showed you inside of that Committee to Protect Journalists page, kind of how any of the different things works, and kind of see what questions are out there. All right, so from Lisa at Vegan Outreach, which is a really great nonprofit, she was asking, so this is for you, Molly, why did you decide to put the in honor of / in memory of option up front for the donor to see? I know a lot of people tend to put it like on the 3rd page, right before the payment information.
Yeah, so that was kind of a joint decision with the client on gathering that information on page 1. I'd be interested to hear your argument for on the payment. I kind of see making a decision to make a gift in honor and memorial as your first reason for being there and something you'd want to do in the very beginning. So I'm interested to hear a different argument on that.
John asked, how long did this take to set up for CPJ? So kind of building out the page.
Well, it was kind of a process where the initial form was developed, was live for a while, and then we came back and thought, this is something, automating this process in the seamless manner was something we wanted to do. So adding in the automation piece and making it work with their original design, up to 20 hours possibly, of just heads down kind of working through the details with the client.
Great. And then Liz Walsh from Human Rights Watch was asking, can different locales be used for different languages kind of across the board?
Ben, what do you think? We haven't tested it out yet. I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, Liz, localization kind of works based on form fields, and you can also adjust your template based on someone's browser settings. So templates are also localizable. So, I mean, in terms of, I know, you right now you've been working on kind of getting some pages built out like in Arabic. And there'd be no reason that you wouldn't be able to kind of do that moving forward as well, even with something like this, because this is still just using Page Builder and then with some minimal amounts of JavaScript. I think the only place that we'd have to do some double checking is kind of once we get in there and see some of the JavaScripting that's going on, what you're going to notice is that we have to name the form fields. I am pretty sure that the form field names don't change when you localize. It's just the label that's going to change. It's like first name would still be a call for first name, like in the JavaScript. But that'd be something we have to kind of play around with a little bit.
Yeah, basically, Molly showed you the front end and how we flow from one form to the other. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the back end here. What we have are a few components here. Of course, we have a template. Our template is fairly minimal. It just brings in scripts and the styles that we need to present things on the front end. And then we have actually two forms. We are going to give you a show right here of the two other components. One is the donation page, and one is the e-card page. They function together to create the whole product, but they are completely separate in a way. If I go into edit one of these pages, and first this is the donation form. Most donation forms that you'll see have at least two pages that are built. The page one sometimes contains all of the donation form fields, and a page two sometimes contains the confirmation. In this case, we have a page one that contains some of the donation form fields, and then in particular the honor tribute fields. Page two contains our billing information and our payment information. Now, the first thing I want to get into is that if you take a look at the form block that contains the tribute information, you see that not all the fields are showing here. If I go into edit, then what we have is the actual checkbox that should select a tribute gift, which type of tribute it will be, and then we have the fields for the honorary name, the informed name, the form email, and the gift method. And those will all be carried over to the e-card. So with these things being hidden, and I'll go ahead and show you the front end form, what we have here is a checkbox, and you see that as soon as we click this checkbox, we get the drop down. And as soon as we click one of the drop downs, as Molly showed you before, we get the necessary fields. The way we do that is through something called form dependencies. Form dependencies allow you to hide, show fields based on the value of another field. So I'll go ahead and show you the dependencies that we've set up here. So again, what we have is this field in memoriam, which is the checkbox it has a value. It's going to be equal to yes or Y if it is checked. So if the checkbox is checked, the value is equal to yes or Y. And then we're going to hide show the tribute options, which is that drop down. So that's our first dependency. Our second dependency is for the drop down itself. The tribute options, if it's not equal to a blank, in other words, if something has been selected either in honor of or in memory of, we're going to show the honoree name, the informed name, the informed email, and the gift message. And this is all in front end. So that's really the as far as getting the information into the form and into the e-card, that's where it's done. We have a couple of text blocks down here. These contain code, JavaScript code, that really drive the front end. The first text block here is page-data.js cache buster. This is something I put in. Every time that you create dependencies, this page-data.js file is created. Sometimes it's cached, and so you don't see the changes that you've made for the dependencies in the front end. With this cache buster, we just kind of bypass that so that you always have the latest version of page-data.js. In our second text block, we have our donation form scripts. And it looks kind of like this. I'm not going to get too far into it. But we do have script that, number one, handles some of the changes that occur when selecting a certain type of tribute gift, so in memory or in honor of. And let me go ahead and show you that. What happens in the front end is that when we select in memory of, again, we have this label here, this label here, this label here. Now, if I select in honor of, you see the label changes here. This is actually the same field as the name in memory of. What you don't see is the name of person to notify if you select an honor gift. So the script, the dependencies take care of basically hiding and showing the field, except for this one field, the name of the person to notify. It's always going to be shown as long as the value is not blank. So we have a little bit of script that goes ahead and hides this name of person to notify, a little bit of script that also changes the label of this field here. So if I look at the script here, again, I'm not going to get too very technical about this, but we have some scripts that, we're going to, on the change of the tribute ops, that is that drop down. We're going to, the labels may have been changed. We're going to use honoree's name as the label text. If the value is in memory of, if the selection was in memory of, we're going to say name in memory of instead of honoree name. And one of the other things that we're going to do is, if it's in honor of, we're going to hide that informed name field. So we're doing that with a little bit of script here, a little bit of script here. There are some nuances to it in terms of making sure that we get the proper values for the proper fields. We add them to certain hidden fields inside of the form that you would not see. But this is script that can, it's pretty portable. We've ported this from a client to another client and into our demo demonstration with very little changes to the script at all. So as I said, that script is, again, changing the label name, and again, hiding the field. Okay, so let me go ahead and get through this.
Hey, Darren, let's just take a quick break and just see if there were any questions. Like we said, this is a much more technical webinar than we've done in the past. The point is definitely to kind of show you how this works, show you that there's some script involved, and then, kind of we'll be sharing out the resources from this particular one. So Tyranny asked, you mentioned there were hidden fields on the page to facilitate the JavaScript. Can you confirm what those were?
Now, one of the fields that we're worried about as far as the hidden field is this particular field named EN Hidden Fields. Okay, and here it is. Now this, anytime a field is hidden, you'll see the value of it right now. Let me get the font up a little bit better. You see the value of the EN hidden fields is this transaction inform name, right? So the inform name, that is the field that name of person to notify. So you see when I changed that, the value actually went to blank. Again, it's inform name here. If I take out all of the fields and don't select this at all, you see how many of the fields, all of those fields that were shown before, all the tribute fields, they are all in a value of this particular hidden field, even the hidden fields. And again, if I select this, some of them go away, and then all of them go away except for the inform name. So that's one of the things we have to do, and that's what the form dependencies, as far as hiding and showing, actually do. They actually put fields into this, or put the name of the field into the value of this particular one right here.
Thanks, Darren. That was great.
Okay. So there's really nothing special about it. We don't have any real special JavaScript going on or any form dependencies going on here. We do have some JavaScript going from page 1 to page 2, and that we save some of the field values so that if you switch between page 1 and page 2, the form will be put back into the state where you left it. The interesting thing here is that normally what we would have is, like I said, a confirmation page here at the page 3. Instead, what we have is a redirect.
And so the redirect here is important. That's what I was talking about earlier. The redirect allows you to bypass that email confirmation page. And that's why it's important that they have a redirect here, and it doesn't go to a page 3 post-action page. And it doesn't use something else, and it's not using the redirect and filters that are available on the right-hand side, depending on a particular field value. So that's what really kind of makes this unique. Okay, keep going, Darren.
Exactly. You see the action is chained here, and what that means is going to carry over the session cookies for you, so that you have values and fields available to you once you get to this redirect page. And this redirect page, the way we get to it is we're going to add a page. Okay, and so we can either add a page, which would be a confirmation. We can redirect. Now this is a little bit confusing here. The redirect will actually allow you to specify a particular URL. What we're going to do is link to a campaign. And from our drop-down, we're going to select the eCard page. And we're going to go to page 1. Let's save that. And you see we have our redirect back here. So what that's going to do is that once this submit button is hit, it's going to redirect you to the eCard, no matter if you selected a tribute gift or not. All gifts go to the eCard page. And let me show you that eCard page.
And Darren, to note that you are not using the donation pages confirmation autoresponder.
That's correct. That's correct. All right. So the eCard page itself And this is a particular type of page that you can specify when you're creating a new page. You can select an e-card page. You've seen this. You've seen the thank you block. Here's a thank you block. Here's the way the e-card form looks that you did not see on the front end. So we have our two e-cards here. One is in honor of, one is in memory of. We have a personal message, friend's name, friend's email, and these would correspond to some of the fields in the donation form. So the friend's email would correspond to the inform email. The friend's name would correspond to the would correspond to the honoree name or in memory of name, and then we have our message down here. We also have the first, last name, and email of the donor. So, and we also have a little bit of script here. Well, actually, it's quite a bit of script. And what the script is doing is once you get to this page, if you have selected a tribute gift, it's going to fill in all these fields for you. We also have a page 2, and this just has a thank you note as a confirmation message on it. So page 1 and page 2 both share this confirmation page message, and that's important. So what actually happens as we go through this form Okay, now I've stopped it in the debugger. And what is going on here is that you see we're on action chain 1, that same URL you saw in the redirect in the back end. We're on chain 1, so we're on the first page of the e-card form itself. The script now is going to say, okay, well, was a tribute gift selected? Is that what the gift was? And if it was, we're going to actually submit this e-card form. We're going to submit it programmatically in the front end. So let me show you what the e-card looks like at this stage. Okay, so as you can see, I may have to reduce that. There we go. So you can see our actual e-card form here. Okay. Well, at the top are the e-cards that you saw, the thumbnails of the e-cards. We've programmatically selected one of them based on the type of tribute gift it is, either honor or memorial. We've gone ahead and, again, filled in the friend's name, the email. There's a, once these two fields are filled in, we actually have to click a button to get them into the list of recipients. And then down at the bottom, we have our donor's first name, last name, and email address. Okay, there's our e-card, and you can see its outline. It's selected. And this is not going to scroll for me, but right underneath that is the message. So we've done that. We've filled out the form. And again, the script right now is going to say, submit the form. So we're submitting the form right now. So I'll just run this. And you see we've gone to the action and we've gone to 2, which is page 2, which displays this thank you message here. Now the difference is if we went back to the form and did not select a tribute gift, instead it was just a straight donation, what the script would do instead is on page 1, it would stop the process and just display the thank you to the donor. And so there's no difference between page 1 and page 2. Even if you're selecting an e-card, Once it's submitted, it very quickly goes on to page 2 where you get your confirmation.
And I just want to reiterate what Darren just said there. So this is kind of like the magic behind how this ends up working out so nicely. Because they're using an e-card page essentially as the post-action page, no matter what. And so it submits the e-card if it was a memorial or tribute gift, and it doesn't submit the e-card. But either way, you only see the thank you, Darren, at the top, no matter which route you went. And that's what makes this like a really kind of novel approach to like using our system like in a really kind of ingenious way. So that way, no matter what, someone's just redirected to this page. They don't know they're redirected. It just looks like a thank you page, and they don't have to do anything. So this is why I really wanted to highlight this and kind of show. The one thing I did want to reiterate is that the autoresponder still gets sent when someone makes a donation. So they're still going to get the thank you email with the receipt if you decide to include the receipt information. So they are going to get that. They're just not landing on what we would traditionally think of as a post-action donation page. Instead, they're landing on this e-card page. So a couple of people had asked me that question, so I did want to clarify. So autoresponder goes out, but they're just not seeing a post-action page.
Right. Thanks, Ben. A couple of things to point out. Again, back on the donation page, we decided to use a 2-page donation form with a redirect. Sometimes folks like to break up their donation forms into 2 pages or maybe even 3 pages. And the way we did it here was to actually create the pages inside of Page Builder here. There's a different way of approaching it where even if you were to display only certain fields, maybe have a gift tab and a billing tab and a payment tab, that sort of thing. Some folks decide to do it in one Page Builder page and then use JavaScript to actually display and hide the particular sections as you go along the process. There are a couple trade-offs to that. One of the nice things about using the page 1 and page 2 here in Page Builder is that you're able to utilize the built-in form validation, the built-in Engaging Networks form validation. If not, if you were doing tabbing instead, where you have one page and are showing and hiding fields, you're actually going to have to come up with your own validation solution. So that's one trade-off. Another thing that we included on the front end, we have a covered transactions fee, so we have an upsell option. That's part of the script. And what this does is just add a certain percentage to the donation. We also have the ability to, you saw it work for the credit card, we also have the ability to have the same process when using PayPal as a payment. So that we're going from the donation form, then we're going to PayPal to actually make the transaction, and then we're coming back and again going to that e-card form. So the PayPal, gets out of the system for a second and then puts us back into the e-card form, and it functions the exact same way. I think that's about it. I know it's probably a lot to take in at one time, but
Darren, do you have an example of, and maybe you need to open a different account, of the customization of the various thank yous based on variables that you're passing? I guess the point of what I'm saying is these variables as to whether a gift is a one-time, a monthly, a memorial, or a tribute, so that makes 6 combinations of those. We're able to drive the thank you email based on that criteria. So if someone makes a gift, a one-time gift in honor, or a reoccurring gift in honor, we're passing those variables through and able to then create a different thank you message, a thank you email for each of those types. So if that's a step more that you'd like to go, we're storing them so we're able to kind of pass that on. So Darren, I don't think you don't need to create it.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
thanks.
I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, I'll just give you a real quick example, and what this means is that you can create a custom autoresponder based on fields in the form. So if a field is equal to a certain value, you can send out different autoresponders, and that's right here. It's all built in Engaging Networks and Page Builder itself, and it does not. The script does not touch that.
Great. Thanks, Darren. Really appreciate that. All right. So we'll kind of open up the floor here, see if there are any questions out there. Just to reiterate, we will be sharing out the minimal slides from this, but also sharing out some of the assets as well that were gone over. So not seeing any questions right now coming through. I do realize that was kind of a lot of information to take in. The big takeaway from it, though, is that, you know, Zuri Group was able to go in, natively use the tools that are available inside of Engaging Networks from having that integrated platform when it comes to your honor memorial giving and your donation pages, and and be able to take all that and then use what really amounts to a minimal amount of JavaScripting. If you haven't seen a lot of JavaScript, that might have looked like a lot, but that was some really kind of straightforward, some very straightforward JavaScripting. Pretty much just, grab this field value and plug it in over here. Grab this field value and plug it over here. Click this button, click this button. So Darren, I'm not trying to minimize the work you did, but just trying to alleviate some concerns out there. So this is certainly something that is going to be available for clients to use if you kind of want to take their JavaScript and play around with it. You can call up Zuri Group. I'm sure they'd love to help you implement this on your page. Or maybe if you have someone on your staff who, is a millennial and knows how to, use Snapchat, they can probably get in there and ruin it for you, so don't give it to them. Did have one question. Are there any plans to integrate e-cards with the peer-to-peer platform? That is a great question, Elizabeth, and one that I don't have a good answer for you for right now. I will certainly circle back with you. Another one, are any clients right now presenting their donors as an option to create a peer-to-peer in-memory fundraiser page option on the form?
Oh, I love that, Max. Yeah, Max,
yeah,
that's an interesting idea. I understand.
Yeah, maybe.
So we don't have any clients doing that right now, Max, but that's a really interesting idea. I know having a peer-to-peer site that is an in-memory site where your supporters can come and create a page and fundraise in honor or memory of someone there are clients doing that, and that's certainly a wonderful use of the tool. Integrating a question or an auto create of that peer-to-peer page from making the donation that's a really interesting idea, Max, and can certainly happen because there is an API for the peer-to-peer product where you can create a registration and a page via the API, so it could just be kind of a one-click send over, and they could land on that page.
Yeah, that's really smart. And then Elizabeth from PETA, one more. For the post-donation e-card page, can we allow users to choose from several cards? So that choice, Elizabeth, would need to be made before they submitted the donation, because you'd have to then grab the value of that image. So that way the e-card page knew which one to select. So that would add a little bit more technicality to the JavaScripting that you're putting in there. So right now, essentially, how Zuri Group set up this for CPJ is they just said, okay, if it's a tribute, it's going to get card A. If it's in memorial, it's going to get, if it's in honor of, it gets card A. If it's in memory, it gets card B. And so there would just be a little bit more design or development work on the back end if you wanted that kind of thing.
Yeah, Ben, in a way, Liz, they are choosing what e-card they want. We're just hiding the visual from them. They're choosing honor or they're choosing tribute, and we know which e-cards those are. So certainly you could devise maybe a page 2 where they selected and you had little thumbnails of various ones and allow them to choose that instead of just choosing the label in honor or the label in tribute. So yeah, that's certainly something that could be designed into the form using this exact same method.
Okay, so I think those are all the questions that I see right now. If you have any questions for me, you can always email me. Hopefully you have my email, ben@engagingnetworks.net. And I can also connect you with Molly, and her email is obviously right there, molly@zurigroup.com, if you had any questions for Zuri Group. And so I think that's all. So Darren, thank you so much for walking us through the technical side of that. You did a really great job. Molly, thanks for helping us get this all set up, and we'll talk to everybody later. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.